Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey,
We're going to start off with a little bit of, I don't know, is it the Orange brand? A little bit of NXT to start off the show this week. They just had their Vengeance Day show, and as we're recording, they're currently having their weekly show, which I'm sure will look a fool not knowing what happens on. But we can at least cover some Vengeance Day stuff, and there's really one main storyline from the start to the end of the show that we're going to go through. And so, first match was up. It was the Men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. Trick Mello on one side, and then Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker on the other side.
first off, the right team won. I'm not a big fan of the name that they've chosen for the tag team, but Breaker and Corbin, yes.
It's funny that
they're
Breakker is
working
the bigger
together
name.
well as a tag team, and it, for everything that went along with all the story and everything, for the overall story, everything made sense.
Mm-hmm.
It tests things, it sets stuff up for the main event, but ultimately, yeah, it was Breakker and Corbin. They get to go do some more stuff in the tag team division. Possibly, who knows? They might even do something that's never been done before. Imagine they decide, screw NXT. We're not using our tag team championship match in NXT. We're going after the WWE tag team championships.
Yeah. We do already have quite a stacked scene there with quite a few teams vying for shots. We just had the big tournament leading up to see who's going to face at Elimination Chamber. We still got 1 week left of that to go. And so, yeah, they would be another team. We know Bron Breakker is trying to... Well, I guess actually both Adam Pearce and Magnus are trying to sign Bron Breakker. It sounds like he's got contracts aplenty. And it's just a case of when he signs one, not if one will be offered. But it does make Corbin and Breakker a really strong threat.
Yeah, they're two of the most athletic wrestlers in the company. Two of the most intense. I don't think anybody is more intense than Bron Breakker right now. I want to see where they can go with it. Obviously, I feel like it's a short-term thing. It's not going to be something that's going to be like a DIY situation where they'll be teaming for like a year and then battle each other, because Breaker's basically on the main roster now. So it's probably going to be them putting over the tag team, maybe beating the family at Stand and Deliver, and then maybe losing it like a month or two later to some up-and-coming team. Maybe even the reinvigorated Chase U.
You really want to get in there, Chase U. They're alive. They're still rolling.
They saved themselves with a calendar.
Hey, if it keeps the boys together and it keeps the university afloat, who are we to complain?
Sure.
But obviously the other half of that match, not the Corbin and the Breakker half, looking more at the Trick Williams and the Carmelo Hayes half, we knew it was brewing. It, if anything, it boiled all the way up to the brim in that opening match. Main event, Ilya Dragunov taking on Trick Williams, double duty, and unfortunately he can't get the win.
No, unfortunately no. And that was the thing that surprised me. I expected, if we were going to go down this road, which ultimately we did, that it would end up being for the title. And it would be a jealousy thing. It ends up being a jealousy thing, just not for the title. Dragunov continues to carry the brand, and I don't know who he faces next, but it was a great match between Trick and Ilya, and hopefully Trick Williams gets another shot, unless they decide to bring him up on the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania, because he's already won people over backstage with just his appearances on SmackDown. So I don't know. It's just it's just a case of I don't know who's next for him.
Yeah. He's the other hard part of that main event, right? Because we we sat here and we said Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, that's your big match for Stand and Deliver. Didn't necessarily need a title. So I think the match has got plenty behind it, even without the gold on the line. And then, yeah, you look at Ilya and you go, well, there's a few people floating around, I guess, on NXT that could face him, but what's the big money match? What is your NXT championship match here? And I don't know. I don't know what you can headline, especially when it's got to go up against Hayes Williams.
There is one possible person, but he hasn't. But as far as we know of, quotation marks, he hasn't signed with the company, or he has signed but has not been announced.
That could name a few people.
Well, there was a promo, a vignette that was shown during a cryptic one that was shown during the event that may indicate possibly Okada.
Okay.
Because there's a Japanese saying thing about three faces. One you show to everyone else, one you show to your family, and one that you show only to yourself, or something something along that line, which is similar to what that promo said. So it could be Okada coming to the NXT, and why wouldn't you want to see Ilya Dragunov versus Okada?
Yeah, I think I've seen like a few rumblings about who that promo could be. I think you're right. Maybe, your main event or your NXT Championship match, at least at Stand and Deliver, is Ilya Dragunov versus whoever that promo does happen to be. It should be a fresh matchup. I don't imagine that promo is for, someone who's been around in NXT and he's already faced. Dragunov has run his course, and I'd imagine if you're hyping it.
There is one other option as well with that promo. Bo Dallas.
Okay.
I just don't know. But it is just one of those weird things that we have to figure out as we go. But as you said, we're sure about what the quote unquote, even if it's not the last match, will be the main event of Stand and Deliver. And that's going to be Trick Williams versus his former best friend, Carmelo Hayes, because after Trick failed to win this title, Carmelo Hayes went berserk and absolutely leveled his knee.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should go on last. It should be the main event, but it was happening. We knew it was going to happen for ages. They finally pulled the trigger. They finally had it happen, and this storyline's been, if you count the them together part, been running for a long time, and so having the payoff now is great.
Yeah, and the whole reasoning is going to be because the fan, in Carmella's eyes, the fans turned on him and chose Trick, and because you saw people getting behind Trick before they split up, but it was mostly as his position as Carmella's hype man. And then he went off on his own, and suddenly you had everybody saying, oh my God, Trick Williams is so good. He might be better than Carmelo Hayes is. He might have a brighter future. Yeah. And that had to dig and dig at Carmelo Hayes.
I kind of want to see him in storyline, like in the video package, just sitting there, just scrolling tweets like that, just getting angrier and angrier.
Yeah. Yep. And so Trick Williams earns himself a number one contendership match, but then he's laid out, so he can't be part of the Fatal 4-Way. So he gets into the Iron Survivor match, and seemingly does the impossible. He gets 4 falls in 2 minutes, and wins that. And then you just see the look on Carmelo Hayes' face the entire way from that point until you get to Sunday night. Anytime he wasn't directly facing Carmelo, there was a look on his face that said, I hate this person. I can't stand this. Why is this person more popular to me? Why am I playing second fiddle to Trick Williams?
Yeah.
And now we get to see them rumble at potentially both of their last matches in NXT.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be Carmelo's, given the way he's been playing out on the main roster for sure. And yeah, it all comes down to, as you say, Trick Williams has impressed a lot of people. could be his graduation as well. Probably going to be bronze. We got quite a few NXT call-ups that are potentially graduating soon. Stand and Deliver could be passing of the torch, depending on who goes up and who stays in NXT. But that's roughly the first half of the show, so it's time to go into our entrance theme, which is going to be none other than Trick Williams. I know he didn't win the NXT Championship, but still had an amazing show and is on his way to go and highlight Stand and Deliver, if not be the last match on the card. And plus he's better than Carmelo anyway, that's why we'll play his theme. And Joker Tristan Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. Parking NXT to the side. Gotta talk about the main roster. Gotta talk about the main event scene. Gonna attempt to recap some of this, because it has been a whirlwind week. So you're gonna get me talking for a little bit. Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble, gets his shot. Does he pick Seth Rollins? Does he pick Roman Reigns? Clearly indicates Roman Reigns. That's the guy he wants. That's his story. That's what he wants to finish. We roll around. Raw comes by. He's like, nah, pretty set. Roman Reigns, let's go. We head over to SmackDown. The Rock returns after just being brought up onto the board of directors for TKO. And Cody seemingly backs down a little bit. And now Cody's going to go over for Seth Rollins' title, and he's going to leave Roman Reigns for The Rock, and leaves our Elimination Chamber card in a little bit of a shambles. Don't know what matches you're going to get on that. And then he goes over to Raw, and then Drew McIntyre, taunts him, tells him, maybe you want to go for Roman Reigns. Why are you letting The Rock have this opportunity? And really, Drew McIntyre just wants to beat the HE double hockey sticks out of Seth Rollins. But hey, brawl. Sami Zayn's involved. Seth Rollins is involved. And now we've got this Rock versus Roman match potentially on the horizon that fans are booing. Fans are hashtag we want Cody all over Twitter. Cody Rhodes still hasn't officially decided. There's no match graphics. There's no anything like that. Commentary being a little bit woo. Cody could still go either way. Drew McIntyre sitting in the wings to face Seth again. We're up in the air. Hopefully that was a half decent recap.
Yeah. It was something that you did point out on the graphics at Royal Rumble about it being main event matches instead of confirmed title match. I'm fine with this. I know 99% of the internet isn't. But,
there are a lot of complaints.
But they're not seeing the grand scheme of things. Yes, WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year. Winning them there would be huge. But there is a way to pay this off in such a way that it fits with the story. And that is in November at Survivor Series. Survivor Series is being held in Madison Square Garden, the venue where the story started.
And you have been pretty adamant throughout this build that Roman Reigns is, no matter who goes up against him, going to be successfully defending his title and making it through and breaking that record. So this works pretty well with your line of thinking then, right?
Yeah. Plus, another thing that kind of puts Survivor Series along with the story, Survivor Series was created for one purpose originally, and that was to counter-program Starrcade, a pay-per-view created by Jim Crockett Promotions that was spearheaded as a brainchild of Dusty Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is fitting together for Cody to win the title at Survivor Series in front of Madison Square Garden. And I get it. It would be a big moment to have it at WrestleMania. But I really think people need to think this over a little more. There's a bigger plan ahead. This is all part of slowly breaking the bloodline down even further. The Rock will not win the title.
You seem way more certain on that than most people.
Yeah, but The Rock will start the erosion of what's left of the bloodline. In particular, Solo Sikoa.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we get to November, it will be Roman by himself. And that's when he will be at his most vulnerable. We've never had a Royal Rumble winner not face off since the Royal Rumble winner got a title shot as a prize.
Mm-hmm.
Not use it at WrestleMania. Well, we had one, John Cena, who used his Rumble win in 2009 at No Way Out,
mm-hmm.
which then created a triple threat match. But that's neither here nor there.
I don't know. I'm going to go on a tangent about triple threats once you're finished, so it's here for me.
Yeah. But I firmly believe they're going the right way, and they're slowly building. They're building a Cody movement in style of the Yes movement, and it's going to get bigger and bigger the further down the summer we get.
Mm-hmm.
And when the story finishes, there may not be a roof on Madison Square Garden after it's done.
Yeah, I think I've seen so many options and so many opinions, and if you're in the wrestling sphere, you have heard an opinion on this. The mainstream media are reporting on The Rock coming back. They're reporting on the fact that Cody isn't going to get his championship match. It has received quite a lot of attention all over the place, and so you're going to see opinions on how things should move forward. I've seen, let's have a triple threat. I've seen what you say, Roman Reigns retain, just Cody taking the match and The Rock just not wrestling. So many different ways that you can maneuver the chess pieces around the board. And I think the one thing that I can sit and agree with is that if Cody Rhodes picks Roman Reigns and he somehow, by whatever means possible, gets a one-on-one, he can't lose again. The next time Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes go one-on-one, Cody has to be winning that title. And if that's at Survivor Series down the line, if that's at WrestleMania 41 down the line, or if by hook or crook it happens to be at WrestleMania 40, I think you've got to have Cody come out the winner of the next one-on-one clash.
I absolutely agree, because if he loses, which would happen at WrestleMania 40, by the way, that's the end of the story. You can't go anywhere from there. But if you there's another option as well that I've heard, having him win the World Heavyweight Championship, and then at SummerSlam, for some reason, being a title unification match.
Look, I don't need no title unifications. We just had this title being created. I'm good.
Yeah, so I'm fine with this. I want to see how it plays out, because it is not something that's just going to be over in a jiffy. It's something that's going to span, and it's going to be the major overarching story for the next several months too.
Yeah, it's going to carry us all the way till WrestleMania and probably past it as well. And I think another aspect that we've hit on before, weirdly, but hitting on now, so many times I would have paid to see Rock Roman. So many times in the storyline it made sense. So many times we had chances to do it. We're at WrestleMania 40 now. I don't know if Rock can go 10 minutes. I don't think he's going 20 for sure, but I don't know what this match is going to look like with The Rock in the shape he is now versus Roman Reigns. I think Reigns is going to have to carry quite a lot of what we see if these two do end up going one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, 7-8 years ago, it was John Cena having to carry an entire match because Rock got hurt immediately.
And weirdly, we saw John Cena carrying the promo side of things back then too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case where it's like Roman is the top dog. He's gotten so much better since turning heel. I want to see. That's the thing you mentioned. We've been like, when is this match going to happen? When is this match going to happen? When they decide to finally give it to us, the internet doesn't want it because in their minds it's interrupting what they want instead of what is right for business and what's right for the story.
Yeah, I think for me it's like if you hadn't had Cody win the Rumble, I think is the big marker, and whether that was because Punk got injured, blah blah blah. If we're going in an injury-free world and we're saying Punk wins the Rumble, Punk picks Seth, They have their match they were meant to have. Rock returns. Rock gets Roman. Cody Rhodes gets a different match on the card. Sure, some people would still be mad because Cody's not getting his big match against Roman, but I feel like everybody would be in a bit better of a state. A little trickier, you have Cody win the Rumble. Now he's got that chance to finish the story that he's been fighting for. He's got his chance to just pick one-on-one with Roman, but you've got to insert The Rock. And so it's a little bit more murky. You know, it looks like Cody Rhodes has just sort of given up, like, not going to go for it now. Whether that's going to be played into the storyline of, like, he doesn't think he has it. Like, I don't know if I face him right now, if I'm good enough to take it. Drew is obviously as a heel, but still trying to motivate him and be like, nah, bro, you got it, go after Roman. I'm pretty sure that's just because Drew wants Seth, but hey. Yeah, I still don't know what shape it'll all shake into. There's obviously the triple threat theory, where at all the WrestleMania number zeros, you know, WrestleMania 20, 30, we had big triple threat matches for the titles. I won't mention all the participants in those matches, but we could have one here at WrestleMania 40. Does it weaken the story that Cody's trying to finish? I think it all depends on the finish of that match. But I don't know. Will Rock lay on his back and get counted 1, 2, 3? I don't know that either. I think he's a businessman. I hope he's a smart businessman. You know, it's hard to look at Black Adam and other things that he's done and see whether the ego is bigger than the brain in terms of business decisions. But I'd like to think he isn't a soul guy. Like, a lot of the times when people are saying, like, oh, The Rock's going to return and just win because, you know, he's on the board of directors, he's this and that. He still does have other board members. There are shareholders and there are other things. He doesn't just sort of show up and be omnipotent God. Hopefully. It's not a sign of a great business if anybody can sort of show up and do that.
Tony Khan.
Yeah. There's obviously, having worked in the corporate world, there's benefits to booking by committee and benefits to having more of a dictator kind of style, but I don't know. I'm letting it play out. You know, Elimination Chamber hasn't even happened yet. We do have time. We got 2 months. We'll see.
Yep. All right, let's devote the rest of the time to Bayley.
All right, you got like 4 minutes. You can just rant about Bayley. I ranted on the main event.
Oh, the payoff for this story. God, it's been a long time coming, like the Trick Williams and Carmella Hayes story. And I knew at some point on SmackDown there would be a Batista-style segment where Bayley would overhear Damage Control talking about her. And that happened. And Bayley plays it off so well, like, I'm going to might go after Rhea, or I could go after some other champion. And the emotion Bayley shows is something only Bayley could do. I actually partially believed she was so hurt the way she was going at it. And when she broke out the Japanese, that was cool. And all of a sudden you see everybody but Asuka, as far as Damage Control, suddenly get shocked. Asuka's like, yeah, I know. I don't care. But I think the thing that sold it the most was Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce absolutely sold the shock on it. And then so they attack Bayley. But Bayley is not a dummy. And she came prepared. And she picks up a pipe from behind these steel steps and then beats the living daylights out of the Kabuki Warriors with it. And then they get this shot of her with the pipe and Io with the title, looking like they're going to hit each other, and then Io backs off.
Yeah.
And Bayley says, I'll see you at WrestleMania, Io.
Match graphic.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was brilliantly well done. The Japanese was like, mwah, chef's kiss.
And you know that they worked with her to get that pronunciation correct beforehand. I'm happy. I'm so happy for Bayley. Bayley is the ultimate team player for WWE when it comes to the women. She's always been willing to put everybody else over for her. She's always been willing to advance other people at the cost of herself, even. You realize Bayley has not held a title since 2020?
Been a long time.
Yeah, and she's never had a singles match at WrestleMania. So that's going to be cool. And Bayley, I want to see what type of character Bayley morphs into as a face. And this is basically her adult run of her character. And we'll have to see where she goes with it. I don't expect her to go back to the hugging, but I could see her maybe incorporating some elements of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited. This is going to be a cool match. If it ends up being the WrestleMania main event for night 1, cool. If it's trumped by something to do with Roman and Cody or something along those lines, fine. But I think Bayley deserves the main event, personally.
Yeah.
I think that's also another reason we're going down the road we are with the main event of night 2. But
we'll have to see what happens in the next 2 months.
Yep.
Which I'm sure we'll be talking plenty more about the main event scene and Bayley as the weeks go on. But for today, we have run out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up. And we will see you next week.